Good afternoon, all in here, and evening in the UK. It's Sunday night, and we are in the midst of audio heads, and we are geeks assembled, and we really enjoyed talking about audio adventures. And right now, the beginning of a new series of audio adventures, uh, fusing some Time Lord, some evil Time Lord uh, ideas and some evil Time Lord responses. This is now a series called Dark Gallifrey, and it looks like they're going to have like 8 series or something like that of them. They've got a lot planned. Anyway, this one is about Morbius. You all remember Morbius, don't you? He was yeah. Just I'm going to throw this over to Lee. He can remind you about who Morbius was, why he what his fall from grace was, and also and the reason he ended up on Karn. Over to
Well,
you, Lee.
yeah, I mean, in the classic TV series from 1975-ish, I think it was, The Brain of Morbius.
Mm-hmm.
What survived was, of course, his brain, because he was executed for his evil doings, because he was a general in the Time Lord army,
Mm-hmm.
um, who did bad things. And he wanted to survive. He planned ahead with Solon to, if anything happened to him, so he could live on. Um, and so he must have been on his last regenerative cycle for him
Mm-hmm.
to wanting his brain to survive. So, and with in the audios, we have had Morbius a few times now,
Mm-hmm.
played by the same to Samuel West. Um, he's come a long way since his first appearance in a Doctor Who um, charity episode of what was it, Dimensions in Time? If you all remember that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he played the Rani's young assistant. Um,
Uh-huh.
and now he is Morbius. He's played Morbius against the Eighth Doctor in audios.
Mm-hmm.
He's also just recently against the War Doctor. And now he's back here in this Dark Gallifrey trilogy of the Morbius set. Um, it's a it's a three disc set. Morbius doesn't come into it until sort of the second disc, which I thought was a bit of a cop out. But it's the storytelling is spread over the three discs. I can see why they did it. The building up to the return of Morbius, and it you get the sense because this is on the set mainly on the what's the sailing ship called, the Proteus.
The
Time Lord.
Proteus, yeah.
Yeah, the Proteus, a legend ship of Gallifrey and of legend. Um, and you get the feeling of that. It's like an adventure on the high seas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like it's like a Moby Dick adventure, um, which I quite like. It's somewhat different. Um, you've got the Sisterhood of Khan involved in this. You've got the captain of the ship who's got her own troubles. The shimmering man, what keeps appearing. Um, and then say Morbius in real form and also in holographic form along the way. And then
Yeah.
you come, and then the only way they can do it is, the captain calls for help by this third disc, and a holographic doctor appears, one who has met Morbius in the past.
Huh. Wonder who that is.
I don't know who that is, but he's on the cover, so there's no spoilers.
Yeah, yeah, the second disc though.
There is a second disc, yeah. That's but
No, but
yeah,
he doesn't. He's
yeah.
not. He's not on the picture on the first one.
Or the second. He's on the third.
Oh, he's on the third. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's three. He appears in the third story, the third part, because this is done in chapters.
Yeah.
Because you're being narrated, or you know, it's not narration as in the narration I hate.
Okay, okay, okay.
You know the narration I hate, Susan. This is a narration of someone telling the story, and then it goes into the story, which I don't mind because they don't do it that. You know, it doesn't. It's not all through the story. Um, and who's telling? I'm trying to think who's telling the story. It's uh, was it Narata? Was that Narata? Was it?
I think it is Narata.
Yeah, yeah.
Janet
Which,
Janet Henry.
mm, which there is a twist with Narata at the end of it. So it ends and so it begins.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a good start. As I said, when I first listened to it, I was a bit whether I liked it or not. That Morbius didn't really appear until the second disc, but then listening to it again from disc one, two, and three, I can see why they did that. It's the build up of the great Time Lord returning. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, a good start to this new series, what they've just released this year. So back over to you, Susan.
Yeah, so the yeah, the story continued from the the Great Schism, I think is what they call the war.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's like it seems like Time Lord society was fragmenting at that time. There's the Prithian and then the Pridonians, and then there's about three other uh, houses, kind of like the Landsrat in
Mm,
the Dune series, like the Great Houses. It's sort of like the kingdoms of Earth. And this one, they are talking about they first of all, it's like they have an uncomfortable an uncomfortable trip on the seas. They couldn't the ship is the Argento. No, the ship is the Proteus, and
Proteus.
Captain Argento is like the captain, and they go into the vortex, and eventually they end up on an island
Is it
in the
Isle of the Dead or something like that?
yeah in the vortex. I mean,
Yeah.
you never heard of such a thing, but that's what happened. And and there was the Shimmering Man who is part of the whole thing, and then there's I guess in the second part there's a character that we have actually Lee and I have talked about at one point, and I've I've heard a couple of the audios about him, which who is the 11,
Mm.
who is a Time Lord on the 11th regeneration, and like this one's got like multiple personality disorder, in that all the voices inside of his head are all
So
talking all at once.
you found out who he's related to in this.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is
yeah,
was a bit a little surprise. A nice little happy surprise when he
Yeah,
nope.
yeah. And then there's the Veritas. Veritas is kind of like Sagacity. It's one of those Time Lords whose name it's a part. It speaks of who they are. Veritas being truth, and the like the doctor, like the master. These
Hmm.
names mean what you think they mean, and um, yeah, Morbius, kind of giving the idea of somebody who's in constant change, kind of like Morpheus in a way. I don't know, but also someone who's in league with the dead because of more moribund. I don't know. It's just his name kind of means like in my mind, in my head canon, he means two different things. It means like the death and change. And then there was Gilda, and Mark Bonnar played the 11 like usual, and Samuel West into the second one, and Janet Henfrey played Narada in the second one too, and Rachel Atkins, of course, played Captain Argento in the second. So that was the second. Now go on to the third, Lee.
Well, so the third is well at the end of the second one, Argento feels like she does need help uh, defeating Morbius, and so she has to call on the Time Lords, which has been done before in certain Doctor Who stories.
Mm-hmm.
But the way she calls on it is by blowing the the horn of Rassilon,
Uh-huh.
um, and through the vortex appears this because she was expecting Rassilon himself.
She was really like holding out for Rassilon.
But she didn't get Rassilon. She got the Fourth Doctor, a holographic uh, version of the Fourth Doctor. Um, you soon forget that he's an hologram. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
Tom, well, as soon as Tom Baker appears in the on the third story, um, it's like he's never been away, and he is sparring once again with Morbius,
Mm-hmm.
like he did on the TV.
Yeah.
But this time, they said this time this Morbius is fully bodied. It's not a patchwork creature,
Right.
um,
It's
which
not like Frankenstein's monster.
no, no. But you do in this order in this part you do get to see you visualize in the audio the patchwork monster because he battles with the brain again, doesn't he? With Morbius and the Doctor's brain, and he brings forth his champion, which is Morbius from the brain of Morbius to fight
Uh-huh.
Morbius. To fight Morbius, and Morbius is in total shock of what is the hell is that in front of him, and that's his future. And that's what Sauron has done.
And
Well,
Solon is missing.
but
But
yeah, I mean, the villain gets his comeuppance in the end. Um, but what we know, Morbius will survive for another day because it's a Time Lord. He can reappear at any time in his time stream. Um, so he'll always be there, like the Doctor will be. Um, but the Proteus is the one what takes Morbius down the ship. In the
mhm,
end, and the ship becomes a stuff of legend. Um,
right.
and what's the character's name? The young. see Gilda. Spoilers, turns out to be Narata,
Narada, yeah.
um, which is a bit strange because Narata's there at the same time as Gilda is, sending her off to her voyages when she was young, and
Uh-huh.
that's so it begins and so it ends and goes round and round in a circle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's quite a thought-provoking ending.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Causal loops and all that, yeah.
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting that at the end. I mean, this is the only second time I've listened to it, but it's still, once you get to the end of this, you think, oh yeah, and you think, well, hold on, so she's an older version of Gilda, but Gilda's there at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
so, but she doesn't know that's herself.
Uh-huh.
Mind fuck.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Seriously, perfect. Yeah.
But yeah,
And the other thing that's like really interesting about that is that they talk about like the Proteus, the ship changing dimensions on the inside
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
they
way
do.
through,
Yeah,
and they also talk about the people uh, growing angry at Captain Argento, and so they what was it the at the end of the second or was it the first anyway, uh they were talking about mutiny.
yeah,
And so I mean like this one's got like a lot of like different little things that really harken back to I don't know, Treasure Island, Mutiny on the Bounty, a little bit of Moby Dick, a little bit of it's just really cool. It's just
yeah.
all really
And
anyway.
also, as well, you find out the real sort of lengths Morbius will go to sustain himself and survive. Because there's the cult of Morbius in this, and he
Yeah,
destroys them, kills them.
he absorbs what they've got. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean,
and,
the fall for it straight away. He just set them all up.
right.
Uh, but so he's, I mean, the cult of Morbius, they adore him, they admire him, they worship him,
Uh-huh.
but he couldn't care about that. He just, so that's the type of person he is.
And they end up using up all of the elixir that
Yeah,
the sisterhood was bringing on board, and so that's how they end up on Karn.
yeah,
And because of the elixir, like Morbius gets a taste for that too, and that's why Solon takes the body or the brain to fashion a body with on Karn because of the elixir.
yeah.
And the elixir part of that thing was really interesting, like that they were, you know, that it was actually on board for the use of the captain, right?
Mm.
I mean, wasn't that like the reason for the it being there was so
And
that the captain could survive after the war, after the Great Schism or whatever?
but she did have her problems with Argento.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So yeah, you might be right there. But
she was a broken time lady, a broken time lord. I mean, yeah. And Argento, isn't that like the Latin word for silver? Like kind of
I don't know.
making it seem. seem like she's like an ancient one.
I don't know about that. I don't speak.
I think that that's what they're getting at. That's what they're hinting at this.
All
That
right.
she's really fucking old. Like old. She didn't they say that she was older than Rassilon? So
Well, it depends, doesn't it? You don't with Rassilon, you don't know how old he is these days.
no, I know, but like yeah, sure.
1 minute he's dead, 1 minute he's back, 1 minute he's dead again, 1 minute he's back, 1 minute and
He's
a
got a
different thing.
real he's got a
Different
lot of
thing.
problems himself. Yeah.
Yeah. I lose track. I lose track with the Rassilons.
Uh-huh. Me too.
But yeah.
And the interface, the oh here, one little note here. Can I throw it in?
Yeah.
Um
Sure.
that the interface was a shiny robot that was there to describe the situation and help the captain and spoke with Samuel, voiced him very similar to a very very well known gold robot that
Yeah.
we're all very familiar with. The the,
It,
the
it was still in the image of
C3PO.
Morbius. Yeah, it was still in the image of Morbius though, so they
No,
knew who
no,
he was.
no. But the protocol and all of that, like that interface, it was so camp. It was just like C3PO. Am I right? I think I'm right.
Well, he's
I
still
don't
from
know.
he's still from the best.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, that was great.
But yeah, it says I know that you've mentioned and we've talked about that. There's going to be roughly around about 8 sets of these. Um, they've done the second set, the War Master. That's just completed now. So I'm looking forward to the rest of them because if
Yeah.
they've done at Gallifrey, are they going to resurrect Rassilon again and Omega and
Hmm.
uh, if they get the rights to the Rani,
Yeah. That would be
that would be
awesome.
good. Um, or are they going to create some other dark characters what we've never heard of? Time will tell.
Time Lords will tell.
Well, will we get Zagreus back?
Zagreus
Mm,
sits inside your head. Zagreus
yeah.
eats you and you're dead. Yay! Oh, that'd be great. That would be really, really cool. Yeah.
Or will we
And
get
then,
who was that Time Lord they mentioned? Um, in the Doctor's wife.
oh, the
C-
the
The
Chamberlain? No.
no, begins with C.
Corsair.
Um, the Corsair.
There we
We
go.
could, we could get an audio version of the Corsair.
That'd be badass.
Yeah, could.
Truly.
Yeah, you never know.
Yep, it's true.
But
So,
yeah,
and the other thing is like when they discovered the one more quick little shout out about this one is that when they discovered that crystal centerpiece of the crystalline time rotor of a TARDIS, they were like, "Oh, see,
yeah,
this one can take you places."
yeah,
And they were like, okay, well, we can fly this out of here. Let's not just fuck around with with the Proteus, but yeah, you can see how they were just sewing it together. That was cool.
I mean,
Anyway,
you've got to give a big thumbs up to the writer Tim Foley on this one. He wrote all 3 discs.
mhm,
directed by Samuel Clemens. Um, I've got to say though, I'm absolutely over the moon that they've stopped doing those goddamn awful watercolor covers. You know the ones I mean, Susan.
I think so.
Yeah, they started maybe a couple of years ago. They changed the imagery on the covers of the the discs and that, and it was all like watercolored smudges, and they were awful. And I think they've literally stopped doing that now because I think there was a bit of backlash with them. So, but yeah, you've
Yeah,
got some really good covers now.
yeah, and
Um,
and the artist who does those is you know,
who is it?
he
Uh,
does the Soundsmith Creative, whatever.
yeah,
That's a good artist group, and they have uh
cover illustration. It was Caroline Tankersley on
oh, okay.
that one. Which
Yeah, it says
artist on each cover. Um, Caroline Tankersley, yeah. So she must have done all three.
okay. It calls it Soundsmith Creative in on the Big Finish website.
Oh, really?
Tankersley, yeah, it's beautiful stuff. And I love how you can see the faces of the
Yeah,
characters.
then watercolored covers. They were just like rain had got to, and it was just running. And I thought, what? It didn't last. I think it lasted about a year. No.
Yeah, okay. Well, you get all these with the cover art, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I do. Guess
And
I'm.
in this series, the fact that we're starting this series gives us a chance to do something that Lee and I have liked to do in the past, and that is to start something and then to see it through as it develops and as these things come out. We did the same thing with some of the Bafflegab, the Scarefires. We did it with the unit. We did it with we're still doing it with unit, and we did it with the um Jago and Lightfoot, and so yeah, we just I'm really glad that we're able to start something from scratch and then see how it goes because the and the fact that we start this podcast weekend talking about two different villains. We've got Morbius in this, and then we're going to talk about the Penguin, and uh, Lee is leading off on that one, and I'm just really excited for that one. So, yeah, let's go villains. Villains are the most fun to talk about. I don't know.
You have more fun being a villain.
Apparently, it's more fun playing them, but it's actually really fun to talk about them
Mm.
because you know when we're surrounded by them in real life, we might as well like talk about the fictitious ones and maybe learn something. You know, that's what these adventurers are. They're for teaching us new ways of addressing these problems. Maybe anyway, just an idea. Uh, so Lee, anything else you would like to say about uh, one, two, or three, the stories of
Well, I just see it
the.
as I just see it as one big story. This because I
Okay,
say
okay, yeah, all right,
to me it's the Morbius trilogy, Jack Gallifrey, the Morbius trilogy. Um,
right. I agree.
um, yeah, it's enjoyable. As I say, it's different. It's going on the history of the Time Lords. But it is good to have Morbius back, played by the same actor who's done it a few times on audio. Um, and he he is a fan of the show. Um, because in the behind the scenes on these discs, he talks about when he was so old, watching the Brain of Morbius and all like that. And so he knows what he's on about.
Mhm.
So yeah, great to have Samuel West back as Morbius.
Hmm.
Uh, enjoyed it. So what shall I give it?
Uh, yeah, final sand score.
Oh, I'm I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a nine. A
Uh-huh.
nine, a nine horns of Rassilon out of 10. I've set the mark high on this
Uh-huh.
because it was a good listen. But as I say, if we've got 8 more sets to go along the way, some might
Yeah.
just edge it above that to 10, or some might just go down. But it is a very good listen. It's a very good start off the mark for this
Hmm.
series. It's a very good start.
Agreed. I will also give this a 9. I'll give it 9 Proteus time rotor crystals out of 10. And I think that I loved that they threw in the I love that they threw in the schism, and I love that they talked about the Prithian, like their issues, and I loved it. I really got like it kind of like took my breath away when I thought that I didn't actually expect Tom Baker to to show up in the third one. I was like, oh my gosh, the fourth
It's,
Doctor! Wow,
it was a shock to Captain Argento as well.
it was such a shock. And yeah, and like finding out about special time ships, time and
Mm,
spaceships that were different from TARDISes, some of the kind of energy that they had, they they had a lot of cool stuff in the Sisterhood of Karn, and it makes me glad to have listened to this one right now too, because the new sisterhood of Bene Gesserits are starting, called the Prophecy of Dune, and so like there's all these neat sort of tie-ins for the villains and for the sisterhoods that are just happening right now
mm.
in my watching and enjoying science fiction and fantasy life. It's just fun. And so, yeah, I hope that you get a chance to enjoy these ones by Tim Foley. Good stuff. Lee's right. It's good. He's a good writer, and so cool that we find new Time Lords and Time Ladies. The one called uh, the one called Veritas. I'm so excited that we have a new one.
Yeah.
And new. We're gonna walk out the truth. That's fun. And yeah. And so come join us if you want. We're gonna be doing all of the Dark Gallifrey. We're gonna be reviewing some cool other villains. Uh Obviously the War Master, and
Yeah,
maybe
he's in the next box set.
yeah, and so good stuff. And then and that's of course with with oh oh boy. Anyway, just fell out of my head. Um
What has?
uh, the War Master, Derek
Oh,
Jacobi. Derek, yeah.
You
And
said I said Derek Jacobi. You said Derek Jacobi.
yeah, I know. I said it wrong, and I'm sorry. And
You Americans always say it wrong.
that's what they say.
Yes.
And we're two nations separated by one language. Anyway, and a little pond, I suppose.
Yeah.
But we come together and we're gonna do some reviews, and uh, I would I would encourage you to join us if you would like. Let Lee know if you would like to. We're available, and if you're available Sundays at 9 p.m.
UK
Greenwich Mean
time.
Time, yeah, just give him a little message below, and as you subscribe to this, just hit the bell notification, and then we'll send you little notifications every time we put something out. And also, if you would like to join us on social media, please do. We're on X, on Tumblr,
Well,
on
Tumblr's
Facebook.
Tumblr's Tumblr's dead now. No,
Okay.
nobody uses Tumblr.
Okay. And then Instagram,
Yeah.
and then also if you are your own self a Time Lord or a Time Lady, that's great. But we just like to wish you all a very happy 61st anniversary of Doctor Who, which is yesterday, but it's right now. 61 years of good stuff. Man, that's older than I am. And I'm older than Lee. Oh my gosh. It's just a long
61,
time.
61 years going forward to the 62nd.
That's right.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So thanks for watching.